Hello, everyone, and sorry for the late class. Happy St. Patrick's Day. But yeah, I had to do some shuffling of things around just a little bit. So yeah, but we're here. I've got my St. Patrick's Day hat on. I can take it off for the class. Itchy, itchy. But yeah, my wife actually got this in Ireland. See, Weaver's Workshop. Check it out. In Killarney, Ireland. It's a cool hat. But so today, as was promised, I was gonna go over kind of what is St. Patrick's Day, and here's where we wear green and all sorts of stuff, fun stuff. So let's get into this. So St. Patrick's Day isn't really an Irish holiday. I mean, it is to celebrate Ireland. There were a lot of in the different waves of immigration and people coming to the United States. There were a lot of people that came from Ireland. So it was a way to kind of celebrate Irish folks here in the U.S., but it's more of an American holiday. So if you go to Ireland, it's not like they're like, "Hey, happy today's day," because it's every day is, in a way we celebrate not St. Patrick themselves, but. But let's get to these rumors, or not rumors, but the facts behind how St. Patrick's Day got set up. So find the green in your closet and get on those green cocktail recipes ready. See, and I also have green socks on. So I mean, they have green on them. So even if I wasn't wearing my hat, which has green in it, covered by my socks, no pinches for me, which we don't pinch here anyway. But I do have my green on to celebrate. Um, so here's the thing: is it says you don't want to get pinched and all that. I don't know. I'm gonna see at the end of this if this goes into why the pinching thing came about. If it doesn't, then we got to get to the root of that, and I'll look that up to find out for you. But St. Patrick's Day commemorates the day that St. Patrick, a 5th century priest known as the patron saint of Ireland, died. But why do we wear green? What did St. Patrick's do? And what are his ties to Ireland? And did you know that many beloved St. Patrick's Day traditions, including those lively parades, began in America and were later picked up by the Irish? So, like I said, it's more of an American holiday. So to fill you in on St. Patrick's Day and trivia, we've got all the info that you need below, including if leprechauns are real and how they fit into this day of green. Which they're not real, but we'll find out. But what did St. Patrick's do? So he's a real person. So St. Patrick was born around 386 CE in Roman Britain, possibly in the area that is today known as Wales. At the age of 16, he was enslaved and taken to Ireland, where he spent 6 years in captivity. He then escaped, only to later return to bring Christianity to the people of Ireland. Not the kind of light-hearted hijinks you might think would inspire a holiday so devoted to it. During his life, Patrick became a priest and founded schools, churches, and monasteries throughout the Emerald Isle before his death on March 17th, 461 CE. However, some are surprised to learn that the patron saint and national apostle of Ireland was never canonized as a saint by the Catholic Church. The lack of official sainthood is because there was no formal canonization process in the 400s. Calling him Saint Patrick is likely to have caught on and stuck over time due to his popular acclaim. So he wasn't technically canonized as a saint. When was the very first St. Patrick's Day? According to Historic UK, St. Patrick's Day has been commemorated on March 17th since Patrick's death in the 5th century. As early as the 9th or 10th century, Christians were observing it as a religious feast day. The holiday was officially added to the church calendar in the early 17th century. As for the St. Patrick's Day parade, though not the raucous occasion we know today, that took place in 1601, that took place in 1601 in St. Augustine, Florida. The Spanish colony had an Irish vicar. Sorry, I shouldn't do that voice. But because St. Patrick's Day falls during Lent, and I don't know if you all know what Lent is. Pardon me, I don't know why I'm yawning so much, but part of it is, from what I know of Lent is something that you give something up in order to, like, kind of appease for yourself. Like, some people choose food to give up, some people even choose alcohol to give up. But then there's like a day, what's the day, before Lent, where you really have like a big feast or party to have your last day of being able to enjoy this thing, whatever the thing is. So because St. Patrick falls during Lent, it became a day for Christians not to take a break from the abstinence practiced during the weeks leading up to Easter. By the 1700s, the holiday had started to take a decidedly more festive turn than its founders had intended. In America, or the United States, St. Patrick's Day slowly shifted from a religious observation to a secular celebration of Irish heritage, thanks to Irish immigrants. And while the Irish population increased dramatically during the 19th century, in part due to Ireland's potato blight of 1845, St. Patrick's Day traditions in the U.S. stretch back a century earlier. So, of course, coming to the U.S. became a party. But originally was supposed to be a religious observation, not a secular, which just means outside the church, or outside religious observation. So Irish Americans in Boston held the first celebration in 1737. Dinner hosted by the newly founded Charitable Irish Society, which remains a national tradition nearly 3 centuries later. In 1762, New York City held its first parade, which has become the largest and oldest St. Patrick's Day parade in the world. Yes. Oh, New York, always having to be bigger than better than everyone. Anyway, the coastal city of Savannah, Georgia, has taken claim as the St. Patrick's Day capital of the South, with celebrations dating back to 1812. While Chicago, famed for dyeing its river green since 1962, has been parading since 1843. These American cities still offer some of the biggest celebrations dedicated to the man who allegedly drove the snakes out of Ireland. The holiday's Irish-American roots also explain why some traditional St. Patrick's Day foods, like corned beef and cabbage, are not actually Irish. The Irish folks actually prefer pork, not corned beef. But, since we're in the U.S., we got lots of cows. So why do we wear green on St. Patrick's Day? Why do we wear green? Why do we have to have this green stamp of not being pinched or whatever? So it's only since the Irish Rebellion of 1798 that the shade has become associated with the holiday. Blue, which adorned the ancient Irish flag, was first identified with St. Patrick's Day. But the rebels wore green to differentiate themselves from the British, who clothed themselves in red, and the colors has since come to denote Ireland, and the Irish to all the world. Shamrocks, the national plant of Ireland, there's tons of shamrocks there, also add to the sea of green on March 17th. The legend holds that St. Patrick used 3-leaf shamrocks to explain the Holy Trinity. There was no historical evidence to prove it. However, the shamrock has been used as a symbol of the Emerald Isle since the late 17th, early 18th century. Right, it's about then. So who does celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Pretty much anybody that wants to, I think, but let's see. While commemorating St. Patrick's Day in the wildly celebratory way we know today is largely the invention of Irish Americans. Irish in the homeland have taken to it as well. In 1903, St. Patrick's Day became a public holiday in Ireland. In 1903, expanding the religious celebration to the secular realm. The parades followed, starting in Waterford that same year. Today, the earliest parade in Ireland famously kicks off in Dingle just before sunup. It's attended by townsfolk and tourists alike. And in Dublin, where the first St. Paddy's Day parade was held in 1931, the party has grown to a 4-day festival. That's big time. St. Patrick's Day has also spread worldwide, with celebrations in England, Canada, Argentina, Australia, New Zealand, and Japan, to name a few. All right, well, there you go. So that's who celebrates. All sorts of people. Now, leprechauns. Are leprechauns real? Short answer, no. That's it. Let's move on from here. Okay, but anyway. But the legends behind them are an important part of Irish culture. It says read on, and then there's... Okay, read on. So St. Patrick's Day is... Okay, so are they real? So you may think you've had too many brews if that's what's on your mind, whether or not leprechauns are real. But apparently it's a valid question. After all, these green-clothed bearded creatures are practically the mascot of the holiday, and we are filled with questions every time we see them pop up in cartoons, St. Patrick's Day crafts, and St. Patrick's Day decorations. In their telltale coats and top hats, they've got a look that is mischievous and is friendly. And they're magical to boot. So who are we to blame you for wanting to understand leprechauns a little bit better? So, are leprechauns real? In our opinion, the answer is a resounding no. Leprechauns are not real. They're just fun fictional characters with whom you probably enjoy celebrating St. Patrick's Day. For the Irish, it's much more it's much more than the leprechauns in green color. English professor and Irish expert Ninian Malamfi told the Pepperdine University Graphic in 2003 the real significance is the culture, rich in antiquity and layered with the customs of many different civilizations. Irish memory is very significant, and many Irish plays are centered around this theme, which can be much more interesting than leprechauns, fairy fords, and other mythical folklore people have used to explain the oddness of the relics of Ireland's ancient civilizations. So, that's pretty much it. So, leprechauns, do they exist? No. But they're an important part of Irish history. And if you really look back, just kind of the storytelling and ways things kind of went about, they're an important thing to look up, and find out about. But again, are they actually real creatures? No, they're not, as I said. Okay, now, since we have a little bit of time, I'm going to find out about the pinching thing. So I'll be right back, literally in less than a millisecond. Okay, so we're back. So the tradition of wearing green on Ireland's national holiday, however, has become so rampant that there's a very strict rule that should be adhered to on the day. Wear green on St. Patrick's Day or get pinched. Not the arrested type of pinched, but just pinched. So as we said, we're pretty sure that Americans came up with this wear green or get pinched rule, as Ireland doesn't go full force with the whole leprechaun stuff itself. As the tradition goes, wearing green on St. Patrick's Day is supposed to make you invisible to leprechauns. They will pinch you as soon as you come upon their radar if you don't wear green. So yes, you read that right. You'll be invisible to leprechauns who don't exist if you wear green on St. Patrick's Day. We know they're not real, but our folklore and mythology are some of the best things about Ireland. So don't play around with it, I guess. So why don't we just all play along with this one, at least just for the day that's in it? So that's where it came from. Is that apparently if you don't wear green, then you're very visible to leprechauns, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I can see you." So I don't get it. So you can't even see the green on me, but just because I have it on. Anyway, it's a tradition, and we don't mock other people's traditions. It's what people believe. So we're gonna stick with it. Anyway, so happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Don't get pinched. Wear green so leprechauns can't see you, and keep it Irish. Get some corned beef and cabbage, or do whatever you feel like doing on this day, Ireland's Day. All right. Ciao for now.